This is Roberto Lorenzo Ferguson, Robert Ferguson. I share because I care, and I'm going to share with you some information. And in a conversation that I had with one of my dear friends, who's a client, who decided to give me a call, and he says, "Hey, I'm ready to lose this weight." Well, he ended up losing 136 pounds. 136 pounds. Now, I've had hundreds of clients lose over 100 pounds, over 200 pounds. The most weight loss I have personally coached someone to lose is 290 pounds. And I've worked with a ton of people. Now, I want you to watch this interview or this conversation with Brett because we open up by me asking him a very deep question. And it's a question about when someone knows there's a way to improve your situation, but yet they decide to stay in that situation. What's behind that? You know what I mean? Like if you're catching this and you know me, if you're aware of my work and you have diabetes and you know that I've helped many people reverse their type 2 diabetes, why aren't we working together? If you have weight that you want to lose, but you're like, I think I got this, I can figure this out. And you know that there's healthier ways than more unhealthier ways. And you know that I'm all about that. Why are we not talking? Why aren't you working with me or one of our coaches to maximize? Why are you someone who is trying to get people to get healthier just by taking supplements? What is going on in your head? What makes you think the way you think and not realize that supplements are supplements? You lead with real food. We know that food is thy medicine and thy medicine is thy food. We know that there is nothing better than that. But so many people are pushing supplements before food. I find that intriguing personally, because at the end of the day, if we were all on a stage and everyone was able to share their thoughts, their beliefs, no one would be saying that supplements are better than real food. And no one would say just rely on food being delivered, rely on someone else deciding. At the end of the day, everyone would agree that there's nothing better than you being informed, educated. And that's why when you become a coach, that's so powerful, because we are in a position where we're able to give people knowledge and understanding that they wouldn't otherwise get it. So I take my hat off to those of you who coach, and not just any coach, but those of you who coach the truth. Because there's a lot of people that they're not coaching the truth. They're just coaching codependency and some other lie. So without further delay, listen to this conversation that I had with Brett. There's some good nuggets in there. And I appreciate you. And if you get a chance, go to our YouTube channel, make sure you like, subscribe, and hit that bell so that whenever I upload a new video, you can watch it at your convenience. So without further delay, let's get into it. Let's do this.
Author and nutritionist Robert Ferguson. Please welcome Robert Ferguson.
All right, y'all, let's hear it for America's Fat Loss Coach, Robert Ferguson!
Hello, Mr. Brett Hilton, longtime friend, amazing individual. Thank you, man, for making time to share about your journey of going down 136 pounds from your heaviest weight.
Correct.
Right? From your heaviest weight, 136 pounds. I mean, what was the top number? And now you're at 201?
337.
That's the top number. You're living life at 201. Okay. What is life like when you were 136 pounds heavier than you are right now?
Oh man, it was horrible. I was miserable. I think I was on two blood pressure medications. Back problems, knee problems, foot problems, just about everything you could think of. Get sweating problems.
I mean, you know what I mean? Like, so when you see someone who is obviously carrying around a lot of excess body fat, I bet your heart just goes out to them.
Yes, very much so.
Okay. Well, we're going to talk about your journey, and I put it on Facebook. I said I was going to interview you. And it's fascinating. Quite a few people gave me some questions to ask you. But
Okay.
before we even go there, I work with you as your coach.
Yes.
And as I posted on Facebook, when you were ready to drop the rest of the weight, I remember you said, well, do I have time or would I coach you? And I said, of course, I would love to coach you. I've known you for 30 years. And a lot of times, I know people longer than that, Brett, family members, and they're struggling with their health. They're struggling with their weight. They ain't called me. They ain't asked me. I have friends who are watching this interview and they could use some help, but they're not calling me. So I want to start there. You actually ask me when I'm watching so many other people just stay quiet. Why? I mean, what you're different compared to the majority of people.
It's hard to put the finger on it, but it's one of those things where I think it's that I finally did it. It's a matter of procrastination, and a lot of people procrastination. I was wanting to do it for many, many years. So yeah, I'll get around to it. I'll do it. And something changed in February of last year. I thought I had diabetes because I'm a little bit of a hypochondriac.
Okay, I remember that.
But yeah, but because of the way I was feeling, but after getting the needle stick thingies, I didn't have high glucose. So I was kind of amazed at that. But anyways, that was kind of scary because of the way that I was feeling. I think it was more anxiety and uh, uh, stress that I had going on in my life that was giving me those feelings. But I was in the point where I need to do something. And same thing, every time I would go into my doctor, because I would have to go in at least once a year for a physical, but it would be the same story over and over again. A lot of these things would help you, like your lower back pain, your foot heels of your feet, or the balls of your feet pain. Once you got some weight off there, all of those things are going to change and they're going to make a difference. Same thing with your gastrointestinal. Once you lose some weight, the problems that you're having there, those are going to change. But of course, I procrastinated and said, oh, I'll do it tomorrow and I'll do this and do that. But was able to successfully get on the ball and do it this time.
Yeah, but again, it's one of those things. Okay, so we have a Facebook group which you're part of, and there are people who they watch me post and share your story, other people's story. I recently interviewed, Betsy Abel, who had a fasting glucose of 300. Now she's no longer diabetic. She was on blood pressure medication. Now she's not. She was taking statins for cholesterol. Now she's not. She dropped 30 pounds of excess body fat and she's thriving. And when I share a story like that, anyone who has a similar situation, you would think they would go, oh, I'm gonna call Robert. I'm gonna email Robert. I'm gonna get with one of the coaches. And like you said, you allowed a lot of time to go by before you reached out to me because you know me.
Yes.
And that's when I'm wondering, like, what's stopping these people from asking for help when they can see that we're helping people without meds, without avoiding carbs, without the frustrations of feeling like you're on a diet. But you did. So that's why I wanted to go there first. I was like, okay, you made the decision. Maybe you'll share something, Brett, that will help other people go, you know what? Damn it, he's right. I'm gonna reach out to Robert. I'm gonna reach out to somebody.
Yes, it's one of those things that you could say, you've done it and you've lived it, so it's living proof that it can be done and it can happen. It just takes time. There's other things in this world that happen and other tendencies that we have or habits that we get into that they don't happen overnight. And I think that is the biggest problem in this day and age with your health is everybody wants it to be done tomorrow. And when they don't see the success in one day or 2 days or a week or 2 weeks, it's never going to happen.
Right.
Whereas, if you can just say, hey, why don't I go 3 months and see what happens? Why don't I invest some time and say, I'm just going to stick to it, and I'm going to do this. I'm going to, and the interesting part that's to me is so funny, because I think I also had the fear, just like you said, it's a fear. It's like, it's not possible. You can't do it where I'm going to be hungry. I'm going to be hungry all the time. I'm going to be hungry. I'm going to be hungry. And that was the most shocking thing to me, is because, I've lost weight in the past on the diet-free life system. But why did I jump back into the thing knowing, oh, well, I just can't do it. It doesn't satisfy me, or I have to eat these things to get the satisfaction in my body. And I just know I can't do it with those things. And it can be done. And I think the fact that you have so much invested and so much time now, so many years that you've done this, that there are so many options. And you can't just eat ice cream or potato chips. It's not possible, but you can eat something that's going to satisfy you and give you that thing. And if there's people that have severe stuffing and more of an addictive behavior, then I think, me personally, and maybe that's one of the reasons that it helped me, I had a life coach that wasn't necessarily psychotherapy or a psychologist, but in a way she was, which I worked on myself. I started developing better attitudes that I can accomplish things, I can get things done. And so I think it's one of those things in the mental attitude. And I was so amazed that I just couldn't believe it, because I ate so many cookies. That was my thing: cookies and ice cream and fast food.
Right. So
And
you're talking about that's how you gain the weight.
yes, or how I sustained it for many, many years of
right.
almost 300 pounds.
Right, because the goal that I have is to talk about the journey to losing the weight, not how you gain the weight, but how you lost the weight and what you went through. Right. So my questions originally are: there are a lot of people sitting there watching this video, and they will do nothing. They will not email. They will not call. They can hear you talk about losing 136 pounds. Okay, but they will do nothing. But you did something. You called me. So my thing is, what could you say if there's something to say, and we can move on and go into these questions that people submitted. But what could you share with someone who's sitting there watching on Facebook, watching on Instagram, watching, listening? Oh, wow, Betsy had fasting glucose at 300. Mine is like 160. Wow, hers is normal now. I'm just going to keep watching. Oh, wow, Brett lost 136 pounds. I'm just going to keep watching. I ain't going to do anything. You know what I mean? Like what gets a person to call? Because when you called, I responded and we got started. Do you follow me?
Yes.
That's all I'm saying. Now, if there's no words that you can share that can get someone to actually take action, like I was just on the phone with a lady that I worked with a while back. Her husband just found out he has stage 1, challenges with his liver, his kidneys. It's not looking good. So of course, like you, people go into panic mode. Oh, I got to do something. And then they call. So she reached out. She knows I'm going to tell the truth. And I share with them, hey, this is what I believe. This is what I would recommend. This is how we can take the next steps. And now we'll find out if they do something, or maybe they'll just sleep on it and not do anything. So what made you call me? And I know you know that the methodology works. You had done it in the past. But what could you say or share for those people who are just watching us talk about it and they will continue to do nothing?
Invest in yourself. Then give yourself the motivation that you can do it. It can be done. I'm living proof. I'm a walking miracle. It can be done. It is possible. There are other people out here that are struggling just like you, and we can work together. We can share. We can lift each other up. That you will have challenges, but you can overcome those challenges. We can overcome anything. We can overcome any possibility in this world. Any challenges that you have, they can be overcame. And anything that you have learned can be unlearned. Any habits that you have, any of your misconceptions that it won't work, those things you can retrain your mind, and it takes an investment in yourself, and to say, I'm going to do this for me. This isn't for my partner so that they like the way that they are not happy with the way that I look. It's, I'm going to invest in me. I am important to myself.
Well,
I am a good person. I love myself, and I want to do this for me because I know I can do it and I can be happy.
okay. That was a great answer, Brett.
Thank
No, I'm serious. Like, I'm not being sarcastic, because it leads me to like one more before we go into the questions that people want to hear from you. They want to hear your answers to some questions that we have, about 5 or 6. But here's one of my challenges that I continue to run into. And, I know you're in training, you're going to start coaching and helping people, which I think is amazing. Same as Betsy. And I would love to hear your feedback on this. So what happens, I'll have someone that I'm coaching. And when I coach people in the beginning, as you know, I like to make contact weekly. And then eventually we make contact every 2 weeks. And we can keep it there, or it could be like once a month. But knowing that they have a coach call, that's the built-in accountability.
Correct.
But my question to you, and I would love your thoughts on it, and anyone, I would love to hear your thoughts on it, is after a while, these clients, they don't schedule their next call. They start to almost ghost me, as the young kids would say. And when I've talked to them about it, they'll say, well, I didn't have any good news to report, so I didn't call. I go, that's not why you call a coach. It's not always about celebrating victories. It's about having a conversation, having that doctor that will communicate with you, and then making some adjustments. But a lot of them, they quit booking their calls, and they fade. And next thing you know, I get an email or a phone call. I got some things going on. I'm going to stop. So what they're really saying is, I'm giving up on me. That's how I see it. Because I didn't call them and say, hey, I'm done. You haven't lost weight in a month. We're done. Right? I don't do that. So what's your thoughts on all that?
I think it's this world, and once again, it's that investment in investing in yourself, and knowing that it's one of those things that I think the most important thing that I could say that I've learned, especially, and I might be very guilty of this, but I think I have a little bit more benefit because we're close to each other in mile distance ways, so I've seen you more, is that maybe I do have something, or don't want to step on the scale, or it hasn't changed, and it's like so, but it's then one of the things that I've learned or seeing you and hearing you talk to your other clients, or seeing the videos that you post online, is the education. Because then I go, oh my God, I didn't know that. And I almost, I completely change things that I'm doing, and the way that I'm eating, because it's not that I was so dependent upon the way that this thing tastes or the way that it was, but I wasn't paying attention. I was kind of grabbing it, says, hey, this is good for you, grab it. But then now you come out and have a video or something that says, hey, maybe you want to check something and look at this, and see if these things, and if you have any of these side effects that are caused by, say, oils or things like that possible inflammations. And you might go, actually, what about that? That's the type of peanuts or whatever that I'm eating. So why don't I get some organic ones, and then see if there's a difference. And you know what? The taste really isn't any different. They taste the same.
Right.
So it's like that education is invaluable to me. It's invaluable, and knowing those things, and continually learning and wanting to learn. I think that the education part is so important. It's one of those things, because what it does, it allows you to have that foundation inside of you that can know. And a lot of the times I think people get into this thing where they're like, oh, I got to tell everybody about this now. But don't do that. If people see you doing and you're changing, and you are happier and you're feeling better and your life is becoming great, and they're going to see it, and they're going to ask you, and you're going to say, hey, well, look at that that latte you're drinking. Do you know how much sugar's in it? And they'll be like, oh no, my blood sugar is real high. Of course it's high. Look at what you're drinking. So things like that. And it's it's one of those things that when it comes to the point, I think the proof is in the pudding, that people can see it. And it's almost like, for me, it's almost like a hidden, it's too hard that, what I do a lot is I say, it's a magic pill, or, I'm taking a magic pill, and they go, oh, really? And I say, nope, I'm eating right and I'm exercising. So
Right.
and they're like, oh, really? It's not possible.
Which one? Okay, so here's one of the things that I like to just be really clear, and I would share this with you as a client as well as a coach. When you've lost 136 pounds, and let's say at this moment in time you're exercising, you got the eating down. When someone says, "Oh man, so like, how did you do it?" And you go, well, I'm exercising. What happens is people go to what they're doing now.
Yep.
And they forget to share the journey. Like, well, I didn't exercise for the first 6 months.
Correct.
Oh, really? Now that will win a person over, because you're really sharing with them your experience and they can relate to that. Whereas when people have lost weight and they're jumping up and down playing basketball, people are like, oh, I can't, because their mind goes right to, no, that's too much, without understanding that there was baby steps. Okay. Well, good. Thank you, Brett. Let's jump into these questions, because people want to hear your answers to this, right? And let me just preface by saying there are people who are losing, have lost 136 pounds doing keto. There are people who have lost 136 pounds with Weight Watchers and Jenny Craig and Nutrisystem and food delivery and all these other. So there's a lot of ways to lose weight. But you lost weight eating real food, not feeling deprived, what I refer to as a diet-free life. And that is the big difference. So yes, you can lose weight eating licorice. You can do an alcohol diet and lose weight. But what is it like? Is it something that's sustainable once you lost the weight, that it really is your lifestyle? And I believe you're doing that. So I just wanted to say that up front. So we had a few people that basically said, hey, good job, Brett. Woot, woot. Congratulations, Brett. However, the first question is from one of my childhood friends on Facebook. His name is Sean, who's a very smart, intelligent, amazing person. He's always been that way. And a big shout out to you, Sean. He says, congratulations, Brett. What was your biggest challenges after you began your transformative journey? Oh, that's a good one.
I think it's a pretty easy one, and it's the biggest one that you were just talking about was the exercise. I am not somebody who is a big advocate of exercising. So in the last year, you were probably correct. Probably the first 4 to 5 months, I did not exercise. I just ate well. And it was one of those things that say, yeah, Brett, you probably would speed up on the numbers, even though, hey, great, you're dropping weight. That's great. You're not eating the fast food anymore, and you're dropping the weight and you're feeling better. But if you were to walk, start off, just like you said, baby steps, start off and go up the block and come back. And then the next day, double that. The next day, double that. And just see if you can do it. And then if you miss a day, to go back the next day and just try to do it. And that's what I did. And I became successful at that. I started increasing my walking, and got up to about 4 to 5 miles a day.
Wow.
And I'm just starting to re-exercise again. So once I got to this point, I was able to still keep the weight off by the diet because I have some foot problems, and which are getting better. So I've started walking again, and it was really nice to look on the step counter and to go, wow, I haven't seen those numbers in a long time. Even though I'm not obsessively looking at the counting steps numbers, but it was nice to see that, and that to me is a victory in itself. And for me personally, I like that. I like to be able to go, that I know if I've done that many steps or whatever, that I can feel accomplished.
Okay.
And
See, I like your answer from the standpoint of, if anybody's really listening to you, they can realize, okay, you don't have to go from 0 to 100 miles an hour. You don't have to just jump right into the gym and like got trained. I mean, and you're killing yourself, which a lot of former athletes are that way. And my friend, who's an athlete, right? We were athletes as kids growing up. They had that mentality where it's like, jump in. Whereas I'm more of like with you, let's take some baby steps. Belinda submitted a question. She says, what would you say, Brett, is the number one contribution in helping you lose the weight?
what would I say was the number one contribution to helping me lose the weight?
Yeah. Like if you had to pick one thing that helped you lose the weight, what would it be?
I would say my coach.
Exactly.
And the accountability. Yes.
Yeah.
And getting to the point where it was like almost kind of became fun, because I didn't like it so much in the beginning of taking the pictures of everything that I did, but then it became more fun over time. And I don't know if you paid attention or not, I tried to become more artistic in my
no, you did great.
Of my food.
you did great. That was good. That was good. That was good. Okay. And so, and for those clients, and that's why it goes back to what I asked you earlier. I had these clients, and for some reason, if I made coaching free and they had to check in with me every week, a lot of those people would give up. They would stop. They would stop. So it's not about money. So it could be $500 a month. It could be $50 a month. It could be $1. It could be free. And people give up on themselves.
Correct.
I'll never forget, I had a client, I helped her lose about 260 pounds. And I remember the third time I worked with her, I said, you will give up way before I will. So that means if you don't give up, I ain't giving up. Because I like to win. And you as a client, Brett, you're like, I have another client named Linda Jackson. Like, you guys just ran with it. Like, you guys just, for whatever reason, some people just do everything. They don't question. They just like embrace it and run. And you were that client, and then you developed and became more creative. Yeah. So you were like a great client. Okay. Sandy Silver, she says, what was Brett's go-to when he wanted to eat junk? Ooh, that's a good one.
Del Taco.
So you had some Del Taco moments.
Oh, are you saying during
as you were losing the weight, or even right now? It's your lifestyle. I mean, you know how to make fat burning meals, but as she says, like, what is your go-to when you want junk? When you want something that's like, is not the healthiest thing, what does Brett eat?
Big Mac and fries.
Ooh, Big Mac sounds really yummy.
And I mean, that's a boost meal. Right?
Which is a boost meal. Okay.
No onions.
Sherry Hargis, she says, what did Brett do when he was hungry and it wasn't time for a meal or a snack?
What did I do? Just like you said, that a lot of the times I didn't really experience it. I know a lot of people have more problems with it, but I think the reason I didn't experience it is because I am a sweet person. So that is another thing, that not all of us are exactly the same. So if you are a savory person and you like the very savory things, that is your go-to, like potato chips or the gravy or something like that is more savory. It's a little bit of a different thing, because for me, I'm a sweets person, so I could eat fruit. And I was amazed. I mean, I still love strawberries and blueberries after a year, and I love it. And it's nice when you get ones that taste good. But then I also switch it up. I eat pears, I eat bananas, I eat but the sweet that I was just amazed. For me, I couldn't believe it, because I don't think even previously in the